lesson is about the Bermuda Triangle, a region of ocean, a collection of disappearances, a famous modern mystery, and the way stories can become larger than the evidence. So sit back, get comfortable, and imagine a moonlit sea, a compass on an old chart, and waves moving slowly under a dark sky. Tonight we are going to speak softly about the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is usually described as an area in the western North Atlantic Ocean, roughly bounded by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. The exact boundaries vary depending on who is telling the story. That is our first clue that the triangle is partly a geographic idea and partly a cultural one. Ships and aircraft have crossed this region for centuries. It includes busy shipping lanes, air routes, tropical weather systems, deep water, islands, reefs, currents, and sudden storms. It is not an empty, cursed zone. It is a real part of the ocean with real hazards and real traffic. The Bermuda Triangle became famous in the 20th century through magazine articles, books, television programs, and popular retellings. The idea was that an unusual number of ships and planes had vanished there under mysterious circumstances. One of the best known cases is Flight 19. In December 1945, 5 US Navy torpedo bombers on a training flight became lost and disappeared after leaving Florida. A rescue aircraft sent to search for them also vanished. The story became central to Bermuda Triangle mythology. Flight 19 is genuinely tragic and unsettling. But when historians and investigators examine the case, they look at navigation errors, weather, fuel limits, communication problems, and the difficulty of searching ocean at night. Mystery does not automatically mean impossibility. Sometimes it means incomplete evidence. Another famous case is the USS Cyclops, a US Navy cargo ship that disappeared in 1918 with more than 300 people aboard. No wreckage was found. The loss remains one of the Navy's major maritime mysteries. Possible explanations include structural problems, heavy seas, wartime conditions, or other factors. But certainty is difficult. The Bermuda Triangle story often gathers such cases together, even when they occurred in different conditions, decades apart, or near the edges of whatever triangle is being used. This is one way legends grow. Separate events become connected by a pattern people want to see. Pattern seeking is a very human habit. We notice clusters, connect dots, and remember strange stories more easily than ordinary ones. Thousands of ships and planes pass safely through a region, but safe arrivals rarely become legends. Disappearances do. Natural explanation for Bermuda Triangle incidents include storms, hurricanes, waterspouts, rough seas, strong currents, mechanical failure, human error, navigation mistakes, and limited visibility. The Gulf Stream, a powerful ocean current, can move debris away from an accident site, making wreckage harder to find. The ocean itself is an enormous complicating factor. A plane or ship can vanish into deep water quickly. Searches are difficult, especially before modern satellite tracking and emergency beacons. In earlier eras, a lost vessel might leave very little evidence. Weather in the region can change rapidly. Tropical storms and hurricanes are obvious dangers, but smaller storms can also be dangerous. A calm day can become rough. A pilot or captain can make decisions with incomplete information. Navigation has also changed. Over time, modern GPS makes location feel simple, but earlier navigators relied on instruments, charts, radio bearings, celestial navigation, dead reckoning, and experience. Errors could accumulate. A mistaken sense of position over open water could be deadly. There are more dramatic theories too. Magnetic anomalies, methane bubbles, rogue waves, secret technology, aliens, time warps. These ideas are popular because they make the mystery feel extraordinary. But extraordinary claims need strong evidence, and most sensational Bermuda Triangle explanations do not have it. That does not make the subject boring. In fact, the realistic version may be more interesting. The Bermuda Triangle teaches us about navigation, oceanography, weather, aviation, search and rescue, media, memory, and the human attraction to mystery. The Triangle is also a story about uncertainty. People often dislike an unexplained ending. A ship leaves harbour and never returns. A plane radios confusion, then silence. Families wait. Investigators search. Records remain incomplete. The absence of a final answer leaves space for imagination. Popular culture enters that space. A missing vessel becomes part of a list. A list becomes a pattern. A pattern becomes a legend. The legend becomes a place. People feel they already know, even if the actual ocean is more complicated. This is why the Bermuda Triangle remains searchable and fascinating. It has the perfect shape for a mystery. A named region, repeated disappearances, maps, storms, compasses, aircraft, ships, and enough uncertainty to keep the story alive. But a calm educational approach asks us to separate mystery from exaggeration. We can say that some cases remain unresolved. We can also say that unresolved does not mean supernatural. It may mean that the ocean kept the evidence. The sea is very good at keeping evidence. Salt water corrodes. Currents move objects. Storms scatter debris. Deep water hides wreckage. Time softens details. Memory reshapes testimony. For an ASMR lesson, imagine an old nautical chart under candlelight. The triangle is drawn in pencil, but the pencil line is not a force. It is a human boundary placed over a living ocean. Beneath that line are winds, currents, reefs, clouds, ships, planes, and ordinary risk. One reason the Bermuda Triangle myth became powerful is that it arrived during an age of technological confidence. Planes, radios, engines, and navigation systems made people feel that distance and danger were being conquered. When modern machines disappeared anyway, the shock felt deeper. Mystery often grows where confidence fails. The more we expect control, the more disturbing it feels when control disappears. The triangle also shows how repetition creates belief. If you hear a phrase often enough, it begins to feel like a fact. Bermuda Triangle, disappearing ships, vanishing planes, mysterious forces. The words gather atmosphere around them. History, however, moves more slowly. It asks which ship, which route, what date, what weather, what cargo, what evidence, who investigated, what did they conclude, which details were added later. This careful questioning does not destroy wonder. It gives wonder a better foundation. The Bermuda Triangle also belongs to the history of 20th century media. As aviation and ocean travel became more familiar, the public also became fascinated by the possibility that modern machines could vanish. A missing ship was no longer only a local maritime tragedy. It could become a magazine feature, a television special, a paperback mystery, and eventually an internet search. Writers sometimes repeated earlier accounts without checking every detail. Over time, errors could become part of the legend. A storm might be omitted. A ship's location might be stretched to fit the triangle. A disappearance might be described as calm and impossible when records suggested difficult conditions. This is how mystery can grow through simplification. There is also a psychological comfort in naming a dangerous place. The ocean is vast, but a named triangle feels understandable. It gives the mind a shape. We can point to it on a map and say, there, that is where the strange things happen. The shape makes uncertainty feel contained, even if the real causes are scattered and ordinary. The same pattern appears in other mysteries. A place becomes famous because stories collect there. Once the name is known, new stories are drawn toward it. The place becomes a magnet for explanation and imagination. From a scientific point of view, the region includes many normal hazards of sea and air travel. The Bahamas have shallow banks and reefs. The Atlantic has deep water. Tropical systems can develop. Human navigation over water can be difficult. Mechanical systems fail. Fuel calculations matter. Radio communication can be imperfect. Search areas can be huge. None of these explanations feels as dramatic as a portal or hidden force, but they are historically useful. Real risk is often made of ordinary things combining at the wrong time. Weather, fatigue, confusion, equipment, assumption, and distance. One of the quiet lessons of the Bermuda Triangle is humility. Modern people often expect the world to be traceable. We expect tracking, cameras, satellites, black boxes, and digital records. But much of human history happened without perfect traces. Even now, the ocean can make things difficult to find. The deep sea is not a filing cabinet. It is pressure, darkness, sediment, current, corrosion, and scale. To lose something there is not strange. To recover it is often the extraordinary part. So the triangle can be mysterious without being supernatural. It can be a place where tragedy, uncertainty, media, and geography overlap. The sober version leaves room for sadness, curiosity, and respect. Another reason the Bermuda Triangle works so well as a story is that it combines sea and sky. Maritime mysteries are already powerful. Aviation mysteries add another layer. A ship can be imagined slowly disappearing over the horizon. A plane can vanish from radio contact in an instant. Together, they create a sense that both old and modern travel are vulnerable. The compass is another important symbol. Bermuda Triangle stories often mention strange compass behavior. In real navigation, magnetic variation, instrument error, and misunderstanding can matter, but the image of a spinning compass is more powerful than the technical reality. It suggests that the world itself has become unreliable. Maps create a similar effect. A triangle drawn over blue water looks intentional, almost designed, but the ocean does not know the line is there. The boundary is imposed afterward by storytellers and readers. This is not a reason to dismiss the story. It is a reason to understand how stories use shapes. The phrase itself is memorable. Bermuda Triangle. It is short, geographic, and slightly elegant. It sounds like a place on a map and a title of a mystery at the same time. Many famous mysteries survive, partly because they have names that are easy to repeat. Search and rescue history is part of the subject too. Finding a missing plane or ship depends on last known position, weather, drift models, available aircraft, daylight, radio signals, and luck. In earlier decades, searchers often had less information than we imagine. A search area could expand quickly until it became almost impossible. That does not remove responsibility from every case. Some losses may involve mistakes, poor maintenance, bad decisions, or preventable risks, but it reminds us that an unanswered ending is not automatically evidence of an impossible cause. There is also a gentle philosophical question here. Why do we prefer extraordinary explanations? Maybe because ordinary danger feels less satisfying. A storm, a mistake, or a broken engine can feel too small to explain a disappearance. A supernatural force feels large enough to match our unease. But history often teaches the opposite. Small things can have large consequences. A misread instrument, a delayed message, a wrong turn, a storm cell, a tire decision, a small failure over a huge ocean can become a permanent mystery. As we close, imagine the Western Atlantic at night. The water is dark, but not cursed. The clouds move. A distant ship light appears, then fades. A compass needle rests under glass. Somewhere below, the ocean floor holds wrecks, reefs, sand, and silence. The Bermuda Triangle is not only a mystery of missing ships and planes. It is a mystery of storytelling, how humans face uncertainty, how we make patterns, and how the sea keeps reminding us that not everything can be easily recovered. Tonight, let the triangle soften back into ocean. Let the map fold closed. Let the waves continue without explanation. I want to thank you for listening to Whisper University. If you made it all the way to the end, I'm very glad you are here. I hope tonight's quiet lesson helped you relax, learn something new, or simply drift for a little while in a calmer direction. If you enjoyed this whispered lecture, you can support Whisper University by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, or leaving a gentle comment with a topic you would like to hear next. It helps this little university grow and helps us keep making the world a little more relaxed and a little more curious through ASMR.